Ever catch yourself wondering, like, are we really that much smarter than, say, our grandparents' generation?
It's a question that's on a lot of people's minds, especially with all the talk about AI these days.
Which is perfect because that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at this piece by Doug Hoholin. It's called Thoughts on AI, IQ, Flowers, and Humanity. And it's got some really cool insights about, well, how AI impacts human intelligence.
Yeah, it's a fascinating read. And you know what's really interesting? Hoholin actually teamed up with ChatGPT to write parts of it.
Wait, really? So it's like he collaborated with AI to analyze AI's impact on intelligence. That's pretty meta.
Totally. And one of the things that makes this article so engaging is that Hoholin uses this really cool analogy comparing different types of intelligence to flowers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's a very visual way of thinking about it. So, like, someone with high nature smart intelligence might be like, what kind of flower?
He compares them to a dandelion.
Hmm.
Resilient, adaptable, can thrive pretty much anywhere.
Ah, I see, because they're hardy. Right. They can handle tough conditions. So then what about someone with really strong logic smart intelligence? What would they be?
Well, Hoholin compares that type to an orchid. Incredibly beautiful and capable of amazing complexity, but needing very specific conditions to really thrive.
Makes sense, right? Orchids can be a little finicky. So where does AI fit into all of this? Is it a dandelion, an orchid, or something else entirely?
That's the cool part. Hoholin argues that AI can actually act as a sort of gardener for our intelligence. It's not about replacing our thinking. It's about helping us cultivate our unique intellectual strengths.
I'm definitely intrigued. So walk me through this. How does AI actually, like, garden our intelligence?
Sure. So let's say you're someone with off-the-charts intrapersonal intelligence, really self-aware, introspective, maybe a bit of a lone wolf. Hoholin says that AI could help someone like that boost their interpersonal skills.
Interesting. So how would that work? Give me an example.
Well, AI could connect them with other people who share their interests,
Mm.
help facilitate collaborations, or even help them navigate social situations more comfortably.
So it's like AI could help us branch out intellectually, even help us connect with others in deeper, more meaningful ways.
Exactly. It's all about pushing those boundaries, expanding our potential in ways we might not even realize are possible.
So AI can be like what, an intelligence coach in a way, helps us grow? But Holin also brings up some downsides, doesn't he?
He does. Remember that prediction that by 2025, 90% of online content could be AI generated?
Yeah, that's kind of freaky, right? 90%. So does that mean it's just going to be AI copying AI?
That's one of the big concerns, yeah. It's like Hoholin calls it the AI content explosion and potential implosion.
An implosion, wow. So, like, are we even going to be able to tell the difference between human and AI content?
That's the question. And what happens to our own human spark if we're drowning in AI content? And Hoholin takes it a step further, too, talking about learning.
Oh, right. Like, if AI just gives us all the answers.
Exactly. He uses this analogy: give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. But what if AI just hands us these, gourmet fish dinners all the time?
We never learn to fish for ourselves.
And we never have that satisfaction of figuring things out, having those aha moments. Hoholin uses this great quote from Salvador Dali about how the first person to compare a woman's cheeks to a rose, that was a poet.
But if you just keep repeating it.
Possibly an idiot, Dali said.
Yeah.
And it's like, will all this AI-generated content, even if it's technically good, will it just be a bunch of cliches?
Yikes. So how do we make sure we don't end up in that situation totally over-reliant on AI, especially with that 90% stat looming over our heads? So it's like we're heading towards this potential content implosion, but maybe there's a way we can, I don't know, dodge it, right? Make sure AI helps us level up our thinking, not dumb it down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about finding that balance. And I think Hoholin is actually quite optimistic that we can.
Okay, so then how do we actually do that? Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, let's use AI responsibly, but how do we make sure it plays out that way in the real world?
Well, Hoholin uses this great analogy of tending a garden. He says, imagine a garden with only roses in it.
Okay, but even if they're beautiful.
Exactly. You'd miss out on all the variety, right? The unique qualities that each different flower brings.
So we need a diverse intellectual ecosystem too.
Yes. We need our dandelions, our orchids, our cacti, all of it. And AI can actually help cultivate that diversity, helping each of those flowers, I guess you could say, reach their full potential.
Instead of just creating a whole garden of genetically modified super roses.
Exactly. It's about using AI to help us grow, to connect with each other in meaningful ways, and to, even understand ourselves better.
But like with any good garden, you need a mindful gardener, someone who's paying attention. So I guess that's where we come in, right? Making conscious choices about how we use AI, where we set boundaries, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's about being proactive, not passive, asking those tough questions like how much AI is too much? What do we need to do, both individually and as a society, to make sure human creativity and critical thinking don't get lost in the process? Because ultimately, we're not just along for the ride here. We're shaping the future of intelligence itself.
And that brings us back to that point you made earlier about how Holin ended his article with this incredibly moving piece of writing, and it was generated by AI.
It's true. And, it really makes you think. If AI can already mimic human creativity at that level, what does that mean for us? What makes us unique? What makes us human in an age of AI?
It's a big question, and honestly, I don't know if there are any easy answers, but I think that's what makes this conversation so important. And I have a feeling our listeners are going to have a lot to say about it too. So, if you're out there and you're as fascinated by this topic as we are, head over to website, social media handle, and let us know what you think. What are your thoughts on the future of intelligence in this brave new world of AI?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
And as always, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time.